So we don't have aliens at Area 51?
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're treating the vast Nevada desert like a massive cold case. For decades, places like Area 51 and that supposed underground base at Dulce, well, they've completely captured our collective imagination, right? Tales of alien DNA, secret tunnels, cosmic exchange programs, you know the lore. But today, we're systematically auditing these myths using hard science. We are setting aside the sci-fi fairy tales and looking at this space exactly for what it is, a massive, complex industrial machine.
We're kicking things off with this absolutely brilliant insight from professional geologist Ramoncito Gozar. He hits the nail on the head with a fundamental truth of the physical world. If a massive facility exists, it absolutely has to obey the laws of thermodynamics, logistics, and geology. Every living, working space has what he calls a metabolic footprint. You consume resources, you expel waste, you move people around, and you displace Earth. You can definitely hide a secret government project, for sure, but you cannot hide the sheer, inescapable physics of a city-sized operation.
Okay, so here is our investigation checklist to balance these ledgers. 1. The logistics ledger. 2. The geology ledger. 3. The physics ledger. And finally, number 4, the final audit. Let's dive right in.
All right, first up, the logistics ledger, where we're debunking the ghost worker myth. So, the lore out there in the Nevada desert claims there's this massive, invisible workforce completely disconnected from regular society. But if we're actually trying to audit the mass balance of the desert, we have to stop and ask a very practical question. How do you actually hide an army of workers? Think about what it takes to employ thousands of people. It's not just making them sign a super strict non-disclosure agreement. It is the undeniable, everyday reality of moving human bodies from point A to point B.
Well, the answer is flying right over our heads. Literally, meet the Janet airline fleet. This is a very real, well-documented fleet of Boeing 737s that fly out of Las Vegas every single day. This transit system puts a hard, indisputable mathematical cap on the actual on-site workforce. If you just take the flight frequency and multiply it by the passenger capacity of a 737, boom, suddenly, that whole ghost worker myth just evaporates into simple arithmetic.
You know what's really fascinating here? The human element. The logistics are surprisingly transparent if you just know where to look. We actually know who the contractors are. We're talking major aerospace and engineering firms like AECOM and Lockheed. The folks boarding those Janet flights are just regular professionals. They've got families waiting at home, they pay their taxes, and yep, their social security numbers are tracked by the government just like yours and mine. So the huge takeaway here, while you can absolutely classify and hide a top-secret engineering project, you literally cannot hide a daily commute. The logistics audit simply doesn't leave room for phantom armies.
Moving right along to Section 2, the geology ledger, and what I like to call the missing mountain paradox.
To really understand why these giant subterranean bases completely fail the geological audit, we first need to define a crucial term: tailings. Tailings are simply the rock, the soil, and the debris that get removed during any kind of excavation. Look, if you're going to hollow out a massive space underground, all of that displaced earth has to go somewhere, right? You can't just vaporize it. You have to physically move it out of the way.
Which brings us to this fundamental, completely unavoidable question. If these legendary, 7-level deep underground bases truly exist at Dulce or Groom Lake, where is the dirt? Seriously, where is it? Because excavating the equivalent of an underground city produces millions of tons of tailings. That massive volume of rock does not just vanish into thin air.
And this is where we find a glaring physical hole in the whole underground city theory. When you compare the sci-fi expectation, these cavernous, massive, open-span hangars, to the stark geological reality, the math just falls apart. First off, high-resolution satellite imagery shows absolutely zero evidence of massive mountains of freshly excavated stone that doesn't match the local environment. There's no scar on the landscape. And second, think about structural integrity. The local geology out there is mostly soft sandstone. If you tried to carve massive open hangars into that type of rock without inserting gigantic support pillars and pouring constant concrete reinforcements, geology says a hard no. The mesa would literally collapse under its own weight. Gravity and rock mechanics really don't care about our conspiracy theories.
All right, let's open Section 3, the physics ledger. We're looking at the nuclear dead end of element 115.
The absolute most crucial point on this entire ledger comes down to this tiny, incredibly brief number, 0.65 seconds. That is the actual scientifically verified half-life of Moscovium, which is the official scientific name for element 115. Scientists actually finally managed to synthesize this stuff in a lab back in 2003, and honestly, the results were an absolute nuclear dead end for the spaceship theory.
Let's just quickly walk through the physics of why this fuel concept totally falls apart. Step 1. You synthesize Moscovium. Step 2. It decays in 0.65 seconds. Guys, in the literal blink of an eye or the click of a camera shutter, the material's already gone. You simply cannot build an anti-gravity propulsion system around a material that vanishes the very moment it comes into existence. But hey, let's play devil's advocate for step 3. What if the craft synthesizes the fuel on the fly to keep the engine running? Well, physics strikes again. The energy required to synthesize element 115 inside a craft would consume vastly more energy than any hypothetical anti-gravity drive could ever generate in return. So it's not a viable fuel source, it's just a fleeting nuclear artifact.
And that brings us to section 4, the final audit, the ultimate PR smokescreen.
When we finally tally it all up, the rocks and the numbers simply don't lie. The audit proves there are no sprawling 7-level extraterrestrial cities hiding under the mesa. There are no stable, gravity-defying super heavy fuels. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening out there. The reality is actually much more grounded, but I think it's just as fascinating. The Nevada desert is the ultimate home for high-security stealth R&D. We are looking at a proving ground for trillion-dollar military prototypes, where they experiment with the cutting-edge physics of self-geometry. And honestly, the most brilliant tactical move in all of this. The military has been perfectly happy to let the alien label persist as a highly effective, completely free distraction.
So, what you should really take away from this explainer is this provocative thought. The military's most brilliant, most successful deception wasn't some elaborate cover-up of extraterrestrial beings. It was far simpler than that, and far more elegant. The greatest conspiracy was simply letting our own imaginations run wild, using UFO mythology as a convenient smokescreen to hide their trillion-dollar stealth prototypes right in plain sight. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The next time you hear an unbelievable rumor about what's hiding in the shadows, are you actually uncovering a secret? Or are you just providing free PR for the real operation? Keep balancing those ledgers and stay curious.
Subscribe and follow us here at the Curiously Expert Series podcast for more forensic audits, and we look forward to sharing more deep dives with you soon.